Discover the incredible bond, how a soldier's dog transformed a little girl's life in just 3 days. Emma sat alone on the swings, her fingers white-knuckled around the chains. The sun blazed overhead, but she felt a cold shadow deep inside her. Each time she caught a glimpse of her classmates, laughter echoed in her ears like taunts that stung her heart. They didn't understand. They never would. Her father was overseas, leaving a silence that wrapped around her like a thick fog. The world felt heavy, particularly as the boys from school picked on her, making jokes about her dad. Hurt flashed through her mind like bursts of thunder, and tears drowned the laughter she wished she could share. Back home, her mom worked tirelessly, pushing aside her own worries to make sure Emma didn't feel the absence of her father too deeply. But the walls of their small home felt like a cage. Then, one fateful afternoon, Emma's life shifted in a way she never expected. At the local animal shelter, a sign outside read "Dogs help heal wounded hearts." Little did she know, it was her heart that would be mended. As she stepped inside, the clang of kennels, barking, and the thick smell of fur and food enveloped her, stirring an urge to run away. But amid all that noise, one gentle brown-eyed dog caught her eye, Charlie. While Emma stood frozen, his warm gaze met hers. He wagged his tail slowly, as if sensing her loneliness. Hesitant at first, she approached him, captivated by the calm that washed over her. Charlie nuzzled her hand, and for the first time in months, she felt like maybe, just maybe, she wasn't alone. Days turned into a magic blur as she and Charlie formed an inseparable bond. With each passing afternoon, he became her shadow, tugging her back from despair, comforting her in the stillness of her room. Emma felt a newfound courage bloom in her chest as they walked home from school together, shoulder to shoulder. She started standing up to the bullies, her voice growing stronger. "Leave me alone," she shouted one day, and Charlie stood fiercely at her side, as if he could face them all with her. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue, but just as hope breathed life into her days, darkness loomed. News rippled through town about a local ordinance that threatened to ban Charlie. The whispers grew louder, feeding off ignorance and fear. Emma felt her heart sink, the warmth of their bond extinguished by prejudice. She watched as her community began to fracture, feeling lost in the crumbling trust. But this time, she wouldn't be silenced. With determination bolstering her spirit, she rallied her friends, neighbors, and even her mom. The upcoming town meeting felt like an insurmountable wall, but Emma was resolute. When Charlie stood by her side not just as a pet but as a symbol of hope, she knew she had to speak out. As the meeting approached, tensions rose and old biases resurfaced. Could the courage of an 8-year-old girl make waves of change in a town divided? Emma felt the weight of her world on her small shoulders, the future of Charlie and her place in this community hanging in the balance. Would her resolve be enough to heal hearts and teach acceptance, or would fear overshadow the love that had blossomed between a little girl and her dog? Emma stood at the edge of the town hall, her heart thudding like a loud drum echoing in the quiet stakes of evening. A crowd gathered, their faces pulled in various directions, some showing concern, others skepticism. Usually, these meetings felt like a distant storm, but now it was a tempest brewing, and she was at the heart of it. Standing by Charlie's side, Emma felt a rush of warmth. He nudged her gently, reminding her of their silent pact. "We can do this," she whispered, brushing her hand over his scruffy fur. Charlie wagged his tail, as if to say he believed in her strength. People filed into the hall, a mix of familiar faces and strangers. Emma's mom took a seat near the front, her eyes filled with encouragement. Emma took a deep breath, mimicking the brave girls she admired in movies. When they spoke, they always had a fire in their hearts and a clear sense of purpose. She wanted that same fire. As the meeting commenced, voices clashed. Arguments erupted over fears of dogs like Charlie and the potential danger they posed. Emma's stomach twisted as she heard them talk, misinformation molded by fear rather than understanding. Tears threatened to spill, but she bit her lip instead, holding her ground. When it was finally time for her to speak, the room silenced, a hush falling over the crowd like a blanket. Emma felt small, like a lone candle flickering against a gale. But there was a spark inside her, and she could feel Charlie's warm presence, grounding her. "Hi, I'm Emma," she said, her voice almost trembling. "I'm here to talk about Charlie." She paused, looking around at the mixed expressions, some skeptical, some curious. "He's not just a dog. He's my best friend. When my dad went away, I felt so alone. But he's been there for me. Every time I felt scared or sad, Charlie has made me feel like I'm not alone. He changes how I see the world." Emma felt the words spill out of her. "He's not dangerous. He's sweet and loving. I've seen him be gentle and kind when other people haven't been. Can't we give him a chance? Can't we see that our fears might be wrong?" Her voice grew stronger. The crowd shifted, faces softening. She continued, her heart pounding, "I know there are bad dogs out there, just like there are bad people. But banning Charlie won't fix things." As she spoke, she noticed a few people exchanging glances. She pressed on, "What if we all work together instead? What if we educate ourselves and help each other understand?" When she finished, she looked around, feeling the weight of silence. Wanting to disappear, she glanced at her mom, who beamed with pride. Then she looked at Charlie, who wagged his tail as if knowing they had created a ripple of hope. Minutes later, the mayor stood up to speak. "Thank you, Emma. You bring up an important point. Perhaps fear should not dictate our actions. Let us consider a community approach." Emma's heart soared at the words, but the battle wasn't over. She still needed to turn the tide of opinion. Just as the tension in the room began to break, a voice interrupted. A man stood up, glaring at Emma, his expression a storm cloud. "You're just a kid. What do you know about safety?" The room held its breath. Emma's heart raced. Would this naysayer extinguish the spark she had ignited? She could feel the moment teetering on the edge. Did she have the courage to turn the tide of fear into understanding? As she prepared to respond, she realized this was more than just about Charlie. This was about acceptance, love, and finding her voice. Would she summon the strength to finish what she started, or would the divisions of old re-emerge? Emma swallowed hard, the man's words striking her like a cold wave. She could almost hear Charlie's heartbeat, reassuring her, pushing her to find the right words. The crowd was watching, their eyes pierced through the air, full of mixed emotions. She had to respond. "Maybe I'm just a kid," she said, her voice steadying. "But that doesn't mean I don't understand love and fear." She locked eyes with the man, willing him to see what she saw. Charlie is more than just a dog. He's a companion, a protector. And yes, I know there are risks, but we can't throw away what really matters: trust. The air grew thicker as Emma continued, her conviction burning bright. What if we can learn? What if we can work together to ensure safety? The world feels so much bigger when you're afraid. But it can feel safe if we all choose to understand. A murmur rippled through the crowd. She could feel some faces beginning to soften, the skepticism melting away bit by bit. Emma pressed on, "My dad may not be here right now, but Charlie has shown me that love doesn't only come from family. It's everywhere if you let it in. Please, let's not lose that because of fear." As she looked around, she caught sight of the mayor again, his brow furrowed in thought. Emma's mom was nodding, her expression unwavering and full of hope. She took comfort in that solidarity, a reminder that she wasn't alone in this fight. Then, the man who had challenged her spoke again, this time with less heat. But what if he hurt someone? Emma took a breath, recognizing that this was her chance to bond over mutual fears. Then we should be proactive. We can organize community training sessions on how to responsibly handle dogs. Let us bring awareness to the benefits of these creatures rather than letting fear rule our decisions. She felt a swell of support ripple outward. Voices around her seemed to echo her sentiments. Could it really be happening? A shift in the tide? That's the spirit of community, shouted a woman from the back, surprising Emma. She smiled, a flicker of hope sparking within her. See? Emma pointed to the voice, her energy surging again. That's what I'm talking about. We can create a place where no one feels alone, where everyone is heard. If we can educate, if we can build connections, we can make this town a safe home for all of us and for Charlie. The room erupted in murmurs and conversations, and Emma felt the whole atmosphere shift. For the first time, she believed they might actually move forward, but just when the crowd seemed to warm up, the mayor raised his hand for silence, a look of concern on his face. I appreciate the passion and courage here tonight, but how do we ensure all voices are heard? How can we prevent any further division? Emma's heart raced again. This was a question she hadn't been expecting. She searched the room, a sudden weight pressing down on her, paralyzing her thoughts, but then she felt a nudge at her side. Charlie was there, his eyes sparkling with encouragement. As she contemplated the mayor's question, desperation clawed at her. What if their journey toward unity slipped away just as it began? Would this be the moment she needed to step up even more? Could she muster the courage to guide them beyond fear into understanding? Emma let her thoughts race, knowing the next moment could change everything. Emma's mind whirled, grappling for the right words that could bridge the silence thickening in the air. The mayor's gaze felt like a spotlight, pinning her under its weight. But Charlie nudged her gently, his warm presence grounding her when she desperately needed it. Maybe it starts with listening, Emma said, her voice gaining strength. We have so many different feelings about dogs like Charlie. Instead of shouting over one another, what if we shared our stories? Everyone has something to say. A ripple of agreement fluttered through the crowd, and she caught a glimpse of faces exchanging knowing glances, as if one simple idea sparked their hearts. He's not just my dog, she continued. Charlie has a story too. He's been through so much just like us. He's trained to help, to listen, to be there when times get tough. The man who had questioned her earlier folded his arms, his expression a mix of curiosity and hesitation. Your stories and training sound good, but how do we protect our kids? He challenged again, yet there was a hint of uncertainty in his tone. We will protect them, Emma replied, her voice steadier now. But we can't let fear dictate our choices. We need to show our kids how to interact with dogs instead of running away or hiding from the unknown. A young boy in the crowd nodded thoughtfully, his mother looking equally intrigued. Emma felt hope shift in her direction. Maybe they were beginning to see a path forward. What if we create a neighborhood day, she suggested suddenly. A day where we invite everyone to come together, learn about caring for dogs, and share their experiences? We could even have a dog parade. It could be a celebration of everything we love about these animals while remembering to stay safe. We can be vigilant and involved as a community. The energy inside the room crackled like electricity, and for the first time, she saw smiles replacing frowns. People were talking amongst themselves, weighing the idea, connecting it to their own lives and families. It's not about one voice having the last word, Emma continued, sensing the momentum gathering. It's about joining together to create a safety net for our children. We can share our fears, learn from each other, and celebrate what we love. Finally, the mayor spoke again. This is great initiative, Emma. But will everyone follow through? We need commitment. Her heart soared at the thought of real change. We will guide and support each other. If we can form a committee, families across our town can unite for this cause. We can bring moms and dads, teachers, and even kids into it. Everyone can be part of the solution." Just as she finished, a loud clap erupted from the back of the room. The woman from earlier, the one who had shouted her support, was beaming. "Count me in. I'd love to help organize." More hands shot up, voices called out in agreement, and Emma allowed a smile to spread across her face. This was happening. But then, a shadow flickered in the crowd as a man stood up. His presence was commanding, his voice stark. "We need to ask ourselves what happens when we leave this meeting. Will it fizzle out like a fire that has no fuel? Or will we light a blaze that changes everything?" Emma felt her heartbeat quicken. It was a crossroads moment, and she'd need to rally everyone again. "What do you say?" she asked, eyes sweeping across the crowd, challenged but determined. "Will we make this work? Will we fight for the community we want to build?" As she waited for a response, the air was thick with anticipation, and the room felt alive, vibrating with possibility. Would they stand with her, or would it all fall apart? Something was coming, and she could feel it in her bones. Would they choose fear, or step boldly into a future built on love? The answer lingered in the air, ready to change their fate. A hush fell over the crowd, the weight of his question settling heavily. Emma could feel the flutter of hope battling against the fear that still lurked in the corners of some minds. Faces had shifted from skepticism to curiosity, yet the challenge was clearly set. Suddenly, a voice called out from near the front. "We'll make it happen. We just need something to spark it." Emma blinked back, surprise as an older gentleman, someone she had assumed would sit back and observe, stood there, his hands on his hips and his eyes shining with a newfound determination. "Exactly!" she exclaimed, her heart racing. This could be that spark. A day where kids learn about dogs and how to respect them. Education is key. The crowd began murmuring, the tension slowly evolving into something warmer, spirited. "We could volunteer our time," said a woman in the back, a mother of a young daughter. "I've got materials I could bring to teach kids about being safe around dogs." "Count me in too. I can help with the dog training demonstrations," said another voice, a local vet with a kind smile. Emma felt sweat bead on her brow, but it wasn't fear this time, it was excitement. She was witnessing the flame igniting. "Let us gather everyone who wants to help. We can schedule meetings in the park. Spread the word on social media. It's time for all of us to join together." As people shouted out ideas, couples began exchanging nods and laughter, dissolving the hesitation that once reigned. Emma raised her arms, trying to harness the energy swirling about. "Remember, it's not just about dogs. It's about us, our community. We're building a safe place where our kids don't just grow up fearing what they don't understand, but learn to embrace it." Charlie barked excitedly, as if he sensed the energy in the air, and her heart swelled with pride and love for her fuzzy companion. But just as the enthusiasm surged, silence dropped again when the commanding man spoke up. "This is great, really. But will it stick? How do we ensure this isn't just a one-time event?" Emma steeled herself, meeting his gaze. "It starts with us. If we bind together, if these hearts here in this room can commit to this cause, then we grow stronger. We'll not just have that event, we'll create a culture of understanding and responsibility. We'll build a foundation others can follow." His expression softened, a cautious nod breaking through. Maybe her passion was contagious after all. But what if we fail? Another voice chimed in, and Emma's heart sank for a moment. Doubts, the creeping doubts, always seemed to find their way through, whispering their incessant negativity. "Failure isn't the end. It's part of the growth process," she replied, her voice overflowing with conviction. "Every mistake we make teaches us what not to do. We'll learn and adapt. This isn't just a moment, we can make it a movement." With that statement, the energy shifted once again, and hands shot up in renewed enthusiasm. The man from the beginning looked slowly around, nodding now, his demeanor having softened from skepticism to cautious optimism. As plans began to form, Emma moved through the crowd, participating in the conversations, laughter mixing with the fading fears. A knot of excitement formed in her chest, but at the same time, she felt the challenge of consistency looming ahead. They would have to keep the momentum alive. "Let's set up our first meeting for this weekend," Emma shouted over the growing buzz. "We'll share our ideas, make lists, assign roles. Everyone can bring ideas." But just then, the mayor's voice rang out again, reminding everyone of the need for direction. "Are we ready for the commitment this needs? It sounds wonderful, but we must be sure we're all on board for the long fight." At that moment, all eyes turned to Emma, flickering with expectation. She would have to lead them fiercely now. "Together, we will be strong," she cried, igniting the crowd once more. "We'll prove we're willing to fight for this dream, to create a future where our community thrives." A roar of agreement erupted, and the room pulsed with excitement. As they began organizing their next steps, the challenges ahead seemed daunting, but from the flicker of fear came a blaze of passion. Emma glanced at Charlie, who wagged his tail, encouraging her. She felt that sense of urgency again, the moment pushing them towards something greater. Would they be able to forge lasting change? The thought scratched at the edges of her mind, refusing to fade away. Emma felt a surge of energy, the crowd buzzing with determination. They were ready to take action. As people piled out of the room, their eyes lit with excitement, Emma caught snippets of conversations about dog safety pamphlets and training tips, a whirlwind of ideas that sent her heart soaring. But as she stepped outside, the weight of reality crashed over her. She paused to look at Charlie, who tilted his head with a curious gaze, as if sensing her apprehension. The fear of failure loomed large in her mind, the thought that all their aspirations could dissipate like smoke. What if they couldn't maintain this rush? What if they didn't reach the kids in the end? "Hey, girl," her best friend, Lisa, approached, a bright smile on her face. "You did amazing. Everyone is talking about it." Emma forced a smile. "Yeah, but what now? How do we keep this fire going?" Lisa took a deep breath, stepping closer. "You're already inspiring everyone. They believe in this, Em. They want to see their kids grow up loving dogs instead of fearing them." "I know, but commitment some will drop out. Then we help them remain committed," Lisa insisted, a hint of challenge in her voice. "Get them to share their stories. The victories, the failures. This isn't just your idea anymore, it belongs to all of them." Emma nodded slowly, the seed of hope pushing against her doubts. "You're right. They can share the good and the bad. We can create a support group for families and their pups, too. This has to go beyond just an event." They brainstormed ideas, imagining a community bubbling with love for animals. They made arrangements to meet the following weekend, planning a community dog day filled with workshops, games, and safety demonstrations. Emma couldn't help but smile as she envisioned little kids hugging their furry buddies, laughter echoing in the sunlit park. The week flew by. Emma and Lisa were ball of energy, visiting businesses, spreading enthusiasm. Every new flyer they posted felt like another thread woven into a tapestry of connection. Finally, Saturday arrived. Emma stood in the park, her stomach churning with a mix of excitement and anxiety. A colorful banner reading Community Canine Day fluttered overhead. Tables were set up, decorated with colorful dog-themed decorations. She felt Charlie tugging on his leash, eager to greet the crowd. As families arrived, a wave of nervousness washed over her. What if people didn't show? But the park began to fill with smiling faces, as kids dashed toward booths to sign in for puppy training lessons and safety sessions. "Great turnout," Lisa called, appearing beside her and noting the growing crowd. Emma took a deep breath, the tension in her shoulders easing slightly. I think this might actually work. But just then, a sudden shrill shout pierced the air. Emma turned, her heart racing. A little girl stood frozen at the edge of the gathering, tears streaming down her face. Her tiny hands clutched a plush dog, her wide eyes locked onto Charlie, who was wagging his tail. The girl's fear was palpable, and Emma felt her heart drop. What had she envisioned for this day? How could they truly change minds if they didn't know how to approach those who were afraid? Stay here, Emma instructed Lisa, charging towards the girl. She knelt down, meeting her eyes. Hey, it's okay. It's just a dog. My dog is friendly. Would you like to meet him? As the girl hesitated, Emma's mind whirled. Would this be the moment that could either break the day's spirit or bond them together? Please, the girl whispered, her voice breaking. Will he bite? In a moment defining both fear and hope, everything hung in the balance. Emma's chest tightened. Could she show this girl the beauty of a partnership between human and dog? Would this be the start of breaking barriers or just another reminder of fear? Emma's heart raced. Would she succeed? Or was she setting them up for another disappointment? The moment was critical, and she had to act. No, he won, she assured, feeling the weight of the world upon her shoulders. I promise. Emma reached for Charlie, who bounced excitedly beside her. She took one more breath, steadied herself, and extended her hand toward the girl. Let us show you how much fun he can be. As two lives hovered at the precipice of connection, the outcome felt monumental. Would this be the turning point for the little girl, or another moment lost to fear? Emma held her breath, watching for any sign of hesitation in the girl's wide eyes. Every moment felt like eternity. Would her outstretched hand be accepted or rejected? If she could just bridge this gap, everything might change, not just for this girl but for countless others too. Slowly, the girl's small hand reached out, trembling. Emma's heart soared. As the girl brushed fingers against Charlie's fur, she gasped. For a second, everything felt still. Then, Charlie let out a gentle whine and gave a soft lick to the girl's palm, his tail thumping against the grass in joy. See? Emma smiled, relief washing over her. He's just saying hello. The girl stared in awe, then giggled, her laughter ringing like a bell through the park. Emma felt a surge of triumph, knowing that this one moment could shift a perspective. She carefully drew Charlie closer, letting the dog's warmth radiate freedom and acceptance. Can I pet him? The girl asked, her voice no longer a whisper. Of course. Emma encouraged, sparking hope in her heart. He loves being petted. With gentle hesitance, the girl placed her small hands on Charlie's broad back. She leaned in, a smile breaking through as Charlie leaned into her touch, unfurled happiness all around them. Their connection deepened right there on that sunlit patch of grass. Emma turned to see Lisa, eyes wide with delight. A cluster of onlookers had gathered, the tension in the air now replaced with a sense of camaraderie. Other children began inching closer, curiosity written on their faces. A few parents exchanged relieved glances, realizing that fear was being replaced by something they all longed for, understanding. Look, everyone! Lisa called out, her voice bright with excitement. This is what we wanted to show kids, how wonderful dogs can be. Inspired by the moment, Emma stepped back slightly, giving Charlie space to shine. As more children approached, the once fearful girl began to talk to them, sharing her newfound bravery. He's really nice, she exclaimed. You can pet him. Emma's chest swelled with pride. This was the magic they had dreamed of, a bridge between fear and love, right before her eyes. But as laughter filled the park, another thought crept in. What about the kids who didn't show up today? What if there were families struggling just like this girl had been, too scared to take a step forward? Emma felt the urgency pulse through her. Hey, can I borrow everyone's attention? She called out, raising her voice over the hum of excitement. I want to gather all your stories today, your first impressions, your fears, and how you overcame them. We need to carry this momentum. The crowd quieted, enraptured by her passion. Kids began nodding, some even clapping. Emma felt the charge of inspiration flow back into her heart. I'm also thinking, let us meet again. For every kid that can share their experience, we can create safe spaces to learn and grow. Emma glanced at the girl, who was now beaming. We can even create a showcase of our furry friends' special training days and group outings. Cheers erupted, and a few families stepped forward, eager to join in. Emma's eyes sparkled with excitement as she exchanged glances with Lisa. They had ignited something profound. Let us help everyone turn their fears into friendships. Emma shouted, not just at the gathering but to herself, too. This was their mission, yet amidst all the jubilation, a small voice tugged at her heart. Would they have enough time? Would they garner the same commitment from everyone as they moved forward? As the day rolled on with smiles and laughter, Emma couldn't shake off the sense of urgency. It was now or never, and she knew that the challenge had only begun. With her vision set on breaking those barriers, Emma prepared to dive deeper into the heart of their community. There's so much to do, and we need each other. Will you join me? The crowd erupted again, but a shadow loomed in Emma's mind. Were they truly ready for this journey? Would they stand strong when facing fear together? The answers loomed, just beyond the horizon. Emma watched the families begin to gather around the small interactive space they'd created. A palpable excitement filled the air. Children giggled, fingers still brushing through Charlie's soft fur, while parents exchanged hopeful smiles, brightened by the warmth of connection. Yet, behind the laughter, a small knot of anxiety tightened in Emma's chest. What if this was just a fleeting moment? What if all of this was momentary, a pretty picture that faded away tomorrow? As the sun began to dip, casting a golden hue over the park, Lisa tapped Emma on the shoulder. This is amazing. Look at how they're all coming together. Yes, but Emma hesitated, her heart sinking slightly. What if next week, when we meet again, no one shows up? What if I can't keep this momentum going? You're worrying too much, Lisa reassured her, a steady smile on her face. Look around. These kids have made their first step. They want more. The energy in the air sparked new purpose in Emma. You're right. I want to make sure they feel seen. I want them to know they can always come back, that this is a safe space. Then let us make sure they know that. Lisa replied, clapping her hands together. We can put up flyers, organize a fun day. We're not just going to let this slip away, Emma. We're going to build something special. Their planning took shape quickly over the next few days. Emma felt a surge of empowerment with every new idea and every flyer printed. They decorated with vibrant colors and playful visuals. Soon, the air buzzed with excitement about the possibilities ahead. The woods, once a dark corner filled with uncertainty, now felt different, a place brimming with potential. On the day of their first formal gathering, Emma's heart beat wildly as the clock inched closer. She arrived early, setting up chairs in a circle under a sprawling oak tree. The community center had lent them some supplies, and she couldn't help but feel proud of everything they had accomplished. When kids began to trickle in, Emma's smile grew wider. The girl from the park was there, hands stuffed in her pockets but with a confident gleam in her eyes. I told my friends. They're coming too. She beamed, and Emma felt a warmth spread in her chest. As the sun climbed higher, more kids joined in. They gathered, sharing stories more openly than Emma had anticipated. A boy spoke about how he had once been scared of dogs but had found comfort in Charlie's gentle spirit. A girl timidly admitted that she had been reluctant to come, but something had beckoned her to join. This is magic, Emma thought, watching the growing bond form before her eyes. There was laughter, empathy, and reassurance flowing freely around the circle. But as she marveled at their connections, a shadow loomed overhead, darker this time. What were they truly facing? Amidst the sparkling joy, Emma noticed a few parents lingering at the edge, eyes skeptical and arms crossed. Their hesitant expressions weighed on her mind. "We can't leave them out," Emma whispered to Lisa, who stood beside her, watching the circle bloom. "Maybe they just need more time," Lisa suggested. "But if we reach out," Emma nodded, determination flaring. "Let us not wait. It's time to invite them in. They need to see this transformation, too." With a resolve that ignited her spirit, Emma approached the hesitant parents. "Hi. We'd love for you to join us. It's never too late, and this is the first step in building a community. Your kids will thrive, and we can help each other." But would they listen? Would they be willing to step into the light with their children? The tension in the air was thick, and Emma held her breath, waiting for a response. Would the doors swing open or slam shut? The stakes were raised, the next moment could either bridge gaps or deepen divides. The silence stretched out like an eternity. Emma's heart raced within her chest, unsure of what would unfold. The parents exchanged glances, some looked intrigued, while others appeared indifferent. As seconds ticked by, she felt the weight of their hesitation pressing in around her. Then, one of the fathers stepped forward, arms still crossed but with a slight softening at the corners of his mouth. "You really think this could help them?" he asked, his voice low yet curious. Emma seized the moment. "Absolutely. It's already helping. Look at how they're connecting. This isn't just about play, it's about building friendships and community. We all need that," she said, glancing back to the joy radiating from the gathered kids. The father considered her words. They haven't had many friends lately, he admitted, his brow furrowing slightly. "What do you do here?" "We share stories," she replied, her passion bubbling over. "We learn from each other. And we have fun. Each week, we can explore something new. It's a safe place to feel accepted." A murmur of voices emerged behind him, and soon another parent stepped forward. "I'm not sure about this," she started, uncertainty in her eyes. Emma took a small step closer, sensing her vulnerability. "That's okay. We're all here to figure it out together. You're welcome to stay and see how it feels. Test the waters." The woman hesitated before looking down at her shoes, her fingers nervously playing with the hem of her jacket. "I guess it wouldn't hurt to check it out," she mumbled, almost to herself, with tentative smiles breaking through clouds of skepticism. Several more parents moved forward to join the discussion. The atmosphere shifted, and Emma felt a surge of hope, as if the darkness had been pierced by the tiniest slice of light. "Just look at those kids," Lisa chimed in, a bright smile gracing her face. "They're creating bonds we all need. The world can be harsh, but here, we can make it a little softer." As more parents moved from the sidelines, Emma felt her heartbeat sink with a newfound rhythm, excitement mixed with nervous energy. "If we can build this place for the children, we can heal some of the gaps felt by the adults too," she thought, her heart swelling with the thought of unity. Gradually, the parents edged closer and took a seat on the benches that framed the circle. Their presence filled the air with a mix of curiosity and cautious excitement. The children squealed with happiness, knowing they had more than just their friends around. Feeling emboldened, Emma turned to the group, clapping her hands. "Let us start by sharing what brings us joy. Who wants to go first?" A rush of hands shot up, eager faces reflecting the light of the afternoon sun. Stories began to flow, laughter rang in the air, and Emma felt the weight in her chest lift, transforming into pure joy. Yet, as the warmth enveloped them, Emma couldn't shake off the small voice in her head. Would this fragile connection hold? As the gathering continued, she cast a glance toward the park's edge. She spotted the shadow of figures lurking near the tree line, unsure, hesitant, as if watching from a distance. Her heart sank. Would they feel the magic too? And just as she was about to address the group again, a loud bark broke the moment. Charlie bounded into the circle, showering affection on the kids, and the laughter exploded once more. But that flickering doubt lingered, urging her to confront the next challenge. Would the families behind the trees choose to step forward, or would they remain like shadows, spectators in their children's lives? Emma's breath caught in her throat. The path ahead felt uncertain, yet full of promise. A new journey was just beginning. The weeks passed, and the park thrummed with life. Emma stood amidst laughter and chatter, smiling as children darted across the grass, Charlie bounding happily among them. Their initiatives had blossomed. Community Canine Day led to regular meetups filled with learning, bond-building, and love. Parents who once stood skeptically at the sidelines found themselves diving into conversations, sharing stories and experiences over coffee while their kids forged friendships with Charlie's help. Then, one sunny afternoon, reality struck. Emma glanced at the little girl from their first encounter, Lucy, now giggling as she raced to pet Charlie. Her heart swelled, but not long after, she spotted Mr. Harris, one of the more skeptical fathers, watching from afar, arms folded tight. A storm brewed in his eyes. Emma felt a tug in her chest. She had seen so many transformations in the community, but what could she do to break through the barriers still holding some parents back? The doubt lingered like fog, shadowing their progress. "Hey, Emma," Lisa interrupted her thoughts, stepping alongside her. "Look at them. This is amazing." "I know. But what about those who are still on the fence?" Emma mused, pointing subtly to Mr. Harris. "What if they never join us? Then let us reach out." Lisa replied, a spark of enthusiasm lighting her eyes. "It's time we invite them into this light, just like we did with everyone else." But it was easier said than done. Emma felt her heart take a dive. What if they echoed the same sentiments from before? It was risky, but the hope that had sustained her fueled her resolve. The inertia had changed too many lives. She had to try. That evening, she and Lisa devised a plan. They would host a potluck at the park, signaling an open invite to bring families together and share not just food, but stories. "Let us show them what this community feels like," Emma declared, excitement bubbling in her chest. As the day approached, anticipation crackled in the air. Emma distributed flyers, personally inviting everyone, including Mr. Harris. If they could gather under the same roof and by the same token, in the same space, maybe the doubts could transform into understanding. The day of the potluck arrived, and the sun shone brightly. Tables overflowed with dishes from different cultures, laughter dancing on the warm breeze. Emma felt a blend of excitement and nerves, but when the remaining families trickled in, her heart soared. As the sun sank low, painting the sky in amber hues, Emma took a deep breath. With Charlie by her side, she stood to address the gathering. "Thank you for coming. Today isn't just about food but about connection. Remember, we're building a community where everyone feels safe, understood, and loved. Just look around, this is what it means to come together." A murmur of agreement echoed through the crowd, and for the first time, Emma noticed families exchanging smiles, neighbors who had once been strangers now sharing tables and stories, but in her chest, the tightness around Mr. Harris stayed. She caught his eye as he stood somewhat apart, a flicker of skepticism still dancing in his gaze. After a brief moment's hesitation, Emma made her way toward him, heart racing. "Hey there," she said as she approached, willing her nerves to subside. "I noticed you're not eating. Anything I can help with?" Mr. Harris shifted, looking uncertain. "Just watching," he said slowly, arms still crossed. "Just, not sure how things could change." "I understand that," Emma replied, lowering her voice. "We've all faced fears. But being together, sharing stories, this is where change starts." His expression softened, and for the first time, Emma could see a glimmer of curiosity in his eyes. "What changed for you?" Emma thought about the loneliness she had once carried and how Charlie had pulled her from the depths. "I was scared alone. Everyone here has felt that. But I found strength in love and friendship. Charlie taught me to open up, even when it was hard." A flicker of uncertainty in his eyes began to fade. "I just don't want my kids to get hurt," he confessed in a low murmur. "I get that. We need to educate them. Get them to understand how to approach dogs like Charlie safely. We work together, and it becomes a unified front." He nodded slowly, clearly contemplating her words. "What if it still goes wrong?" Emma felt buoyed, inspiring conviction rising in her as she replied, "Then we learn. But we can't let fear dictate our lives. Embracing these moments is what builds us stronger, together." Still, the relief didn't come quickly. Mr. Harris looked down, doubt hung in the air, but then he caught a glimpse of the children playing together, laughing without a care. And slowly, he began to unclench his arms, a subtle but significant step. "All right," he said, almost to himself. "Maybe I'll give it a shot." Emma felt the corners of her mouth lift. "That's the spirit. Just remember, we grow together. As a community." With a resolved nod, Mr. Harris stepped forward. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, casting a warm glow, he approached the gathering. Tentatively at first, cheers erupted as he engaged with a group at a nearby table. Unknown to Emma, fear began to take a back seat, making room for curiosity and connection. Families embraced their opportunity to bond, and soon laughter rang out louder than before. In that moment, hope surged through Emma's veins. She turned to Charlie, who seemed to smile back, matching the radiant joy lighting up her heart. Their journey had just begun, and as they basked in the warmth of the golden sunset, she realized they were truly building something greater, a tapestry of lives woven together, sharing love, laughter, and acceptance. The future unfurled before them, endless and bright, and this was just the beginning. Now, if you've been inspired by Emma's journey and transformation, it's time to take action. You need to subscribe now to this channel so you don't miss any more exclusive stories that will truly move your heart. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your love. And don't forget to comment below with your reactions and feelings about this ending. Lastly, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second, be part of this wonderful community.